Today I'll be talking about TOEFL and IELTS. So many times each one of us has seen boards around the country wherever we go, take coaching for IELTS, ACE, TOEFL exam. But have you ever wondered what are these about? In case you're not aware about them, today I'll help you understand what each of these tests are all about. First of all, I have to break it down that I have personally observed so many times that these abbreviations are spelled incorrectly. So to break it down for you, IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System and TOEFL stands for Test of English as a Foreign Language. It's that simple. If you remember the full form, you will never go wrong with it. Now, as you might have already assumed, they are tests in English for English language. The tests are taken by people who belong to non-English speaking countries and plan to study or immigrate to a country which is primarily English speaking. Now, the purpose of this test is to check your basic skill language in the English language and to understand that do you have the sufficient prowess in English speaking to manage in the English speaking countries. Now, the purpose today is to help you explain that how it is used by the international universities and why is it necessary. I'll start with IELTS first. IELTS is a basic exam that tests you on 4 basic skills in English, which is speaking, writing, listening, and reading. Similarly for TOEFL as well. But for IELTS in particular, what is most important to understand is the fact that there are 2 kinds of IELTS. It's IELTS academic and IELTS general. You just have to focus on IELTS academic. The general one is taken by people who are applying to immigrate to particular countries. Like you see people running off to Canada to immigrate there, they give IELTS general training exam. You have to give IELTS academic. I'm repeating myself, focus only on IELTS academic. The exam is very simple. It lasts around 2 or 45 minutes. It can be a paper-based test which you have to go to a center for, and now it's available as an online test as well. What I mean is it's a computerized test as well. It's very recently introduced and it's a very efficient way of getting the test results as well. Simply when you give the test, your scores are sent to the universities, you get the sheets as well. You can send it either through them. The test is owned by British Council, IDP and Cambridge collectively, and these are the most prominent bodies in the English speaking world who govern this test. The test is primarily recognized globally, but preferably UK is the first place which it is used the most by the universities. For UK, it is IELTS UKVI. It is used for the immigration purposes as well. So remember, IELTS academic, IELTS UKVI is for the UK. Other than that, it is acceptable in Australia, Canada, US, Europe, around the world. IELTS is used. But remember, UK, Australia and Canada are primarily focused on IELTS. Now talking about TOEFL, it is very similarly planned. They test you on the 4 different aspects of English as well: reading, writing, listening and speaking. A very simple mechanism. IELTS is scored between the band of 0 to 9, whereas TOEFL is scored between a score of 0 to 120. An average score which is widely acceptable by a decent university for TOEFL will be around 78 to 80. In case of IELTS, it will be around 6.5. This is the average decent score. I think it's implicit when I say that the higher the score you get, the better universities you get and the better advantage you have, simply put. TOEFL and IELTS are very similar. TOEFL is around 2 hours 55 minutes to 3 hours. Earlier it was 4 hours, now it's reduced. TOEFL is again a paper-based test and a computerized test as well. You have an option whichever you're comfortable with. Preparing for them, it totally depends on what is your level of knowledge in English at this point. They both send you reference material when you register for the test online, and you get all the material you can ask for. And I think that's enough what you need. People have to take coaching as well. That's completely up to you depending on your understanding. Now, I want to just give a brief about the speaking section. Speaking section is more like an interview kind of a thing which is held. For example, for IELTS speaking, you're called a day before or after your written test is done and you take an interview about introduce yourself, basic elements, tell us about your favorite building, favorite city or something like that, and questions in retrospect are asked about it. So it's a very simple test to put that way, but you have to definitely give it to get into university. That's one of the major requirements which universities ask for. Other than that, there's nothing more to IELTS and TOEFL. Just remember to give the academic versions of each because the other ones are only accepted for immigration, not by the universities. If you want further clarity or have any doubts about IELTS or TOEFL, please feel free to reach out to us at www.mindler.com. Thank you so much.